Today I'll be talking about the key highlights of National Education Policy 2020 and what are the various changes and transformation which is being brought through this particular policy in the field of education sector. So talking about this education sector in India, so universal high quality education is the best way forward for developing and maximizing our country's rich talent and resources for the good of the individual, society and the country. So whenever we talk about, we are having rich talent in India, but that talent used to move out from India to other country. So there might be some challenges and issues which are there. So due to that talent used to just go out to settle to the different country, right? So talking about these particular challenges, there is a motive of government of India to provide high quality education so that there will be proper development of individual, society and the country and the world also. So India will have the highest population of young people in the world over the next decade, as we are the second highest populous country after the China. And talking about the young people, so definitely we are number one in terms of young people in the world, and in next decade there might be huge contribution from these young people from global economy as well. So definitely if some changes has been brought in education sector in India, so that will be able to transform India in global market. So with that word, just starting my presentation, but before starting this presentation, would like to show you one small video that is based on the purpose of education, and that is in the word of Mr. Amitabh Bachchan. So let's enjoy this video. Is it audible? Is it audible, ma'am?
Yes, sir. It's audible. Yes, it's audible.
ज्ञान का प्रेमी जरूर। मैं कोई साइंटिस्ट नहीं हूं, पर लाइफ में एक्सपेरिमेंट जरूर करना हूं और उससे सीखता भी हूं। मेरे विचार एप्रीहेंशन से नहीं, ऑब्जर्वेशन से बनते। मैं ऐसा मानता हूं कि एक सामान्य जिंदगी जीने के लिए इंसान को रोटी, कपड़ा और मकान के अलावा अगर किसी चीज की सबसे ज्यादा जरूरत होती है तो वो है शिक्षा, एजुकेशन। आपके पास यदि धन है तो आप उसे गोल्ड में कन्वर्ट कर सकते हैं। धन हो या सोना, दोनों के कम होने का या खो जाने का डर हो सकता है, पर यही धन को अगर हम नॉलेज में कन्वर्ट करते हैं तो वो कभी कम नहीं होगा और ना ही उसकी चोरी हो सकती। शिक्षा का महत्व मैंने बचपन से ही देखा है। मेरे माता पिता का मानना था कि ज्ञान वो इन्वेस्टमेंट है जिसका डिविडेंड यानी मुनाफा जीवन के अंत तक मिलता रहता है। एक राजा अपनी शक्ति के बल पर केवल वहीं तक पूजा जाता है जहां तक उसका साम्राज्य फैला होता है। वो केवल अपनी प्रजा का प्रिय होता है, पर अपने ज्ञान की कीर्ति फैलाने वाले अल्बर्ट आइंस्टाइन, विलियम शेक्सपियर, रविंद्रनाथ टैगोर सिर्फ अपनी जन्मभूमि में ही नहीं बल्कि पूरे विश्व में पूजे जाते हैं। संपूर्ण मानव जाति के लिए वो प्रेरणा स्रोत बनते हैं, बिना इस बात की चिंता किए कि एंड रिजल्ट क्या होगा। साल के अंत में जब हम परीक्षा देने बैठेंगे तो कुछ याद रहेगा या नहीं, अच्छे नंबर के पास आएंगे या नहीं, वो हमारे पास नंबर आ पाएंगे या नहीं। प्यारे दोस्तों, आपकी शिक्षा के ये दिन आपको कुछ समय के लिए गंभीर जरूर रख सकते हैं, पर इस गंभीरता का फल आपको आपके आने वाले दिनों में उम्मीद से कहीं ज्यादा मिलेगा। बिकॉज आई सिंसियरली फील दैट व्हेन यू विल चेस नॉलेज, नंबर्स विल ऑलवेज फॉलो। दो चीजें इंसान यदि अपने जीवन में एक बार सीख लेता है तो वो उसे कभी भूलता नहीं। एक है तैरना, स्विमिंग, दूसरा है साइकिल चलाना। सालों बाद भी अगर आप इन क्रियाओं को करेंगे तो कभी भी इस बात की चिंता नहीं होगी कि आपको स्विमिंग करना या साइकिल चलाना याद है कि नहीं। मेरा ऐसा मानना है कि वेपन्स, मनी किसी को पावरफुल नहीं बनाते, या अगर बनाते भी हैं तो कुछ समय के लिए ही बना पाते हैं। दौलत आज होगी, कल नहीं। शस्त्र का ज्ञान तभी तक काम आएगा जब तक वो शस्त्र चल सकता है। वंस इट इज यूज्ड इट बिकम्स एब्सोल्यूट। पर शास्त्र का ज्ञान कभी नहीं रुकता। नॉलेज कैन नेवर बी ऑब्सोलीट। शास्त्र ज्ञान शस्त्र ज्ञान से ज्यादा असरदार, प्रभावशाली और शक्तिशाली होता है। सीखते रहिए। ज्ञान का धनी व्यक्ति हमेशा ही सम्मान और आदर योग्य होता है, क्योंकि ज्ञान वो कवच है, वो शील्ड है जो आपके जीवन में आने वाली कठिनाइयों से आपकी रक्षा करेगा। फिर किसी भी शस्त्र की आपको आवश्यकता नहीं होगी।
Yeah, so beautiful message is given in this video, that there is a huge importance of education in the life of everyone. Like on early days, everyone used to talk about food, shelter, and clothing, but there is a fourth thing, that is education, which is very important thing in everyone's life. And definitely when we talk about the education, so education can never be obsolete. Whatever we are learning, definitely we can use those knowledge and learning in near future for further development. So there is a huge importance of education for everyone. Now coming to the National Education Policy 2020. So talking about the vision of National Education Policy, so there are 5 pillars in which this NEP is based on. So first is the access, second is the equity, then affordability, accountability, and quality. So talking about the access, so what government is planning to provide the education to all the children, all the person of India, so that education can be accessed by anyone from anywhere in India. So working on access. Then talking about equity, that means everyone is same as far as the education and all is concerned. So according to the education and this National Education Policy 2020, we'll be focusing on equity, then affordability. So affordability is also very important. So government want to make this education affordable for everyone, so that everyone can just go through adopting the education and all for further development process. Then accountability. So definitely accountability is there, accountability of teachers, accountability of we people towards the development of education in India, towards the implementation of this National Education Policy in India. So we'll have to work on accountability. And quality. Quality means to improve the quality of education in India. So whenever we talk about the quality of education, so somewhere we are lacking with many countries, many developed countries in the world, like USA, UK, some European countries. So definitely the vision of this National Education Policy is to provide quality education, so that the quality of education can be improved in India itself. So these are the 5 pillars and the vision of National Education Policy 2020. Now coming to the next part, that is the basic introductory, that this National Education Policy 2020 is the first education policy of 21st century. So this is one of the important thing, that this is the first education policy of the 21st century and aims to address many growing developmental imperatives of the country. So definitely, as we are talking that this is the first education policy of 21st century, then definitely this policy has been prepared by focusing on the different issues and challenges of 21st century. So this policy process the revision and revamping of all aspect of education structure, including its regulation and governance, to create a new system that is aligned with the aspirational goal of 21st century education, including SDG, that is Sustainable Development Goal 4, while building upon India's tradition and value system. So government is concerned toward the growth of education, towards the quality of education in India. So definitely this policy cater the need of 21st century education, and definitely government want to align this 21st century education with sustainable development goals. So that is the best thing which has been brought in this national education policy. And apart from this, government want to focus on the tradition and the value system. So government want to develop the traditional outlook, traditional approach of the Indian citizen, and want to develop the value system as well. So this is the actual objective of this particular education policy. So India's National Education Policy 2020 makes a paradigm shift in conceptualizing education as a mean to equip student with skill suited for 21st century, as there are huge changes in the skill requirement by the industry. So definitely if those skill set is being introduced in this NEP, then definitely after achieving the goal of this particular policy, there might be huge changes in the education sector and overall in Indian economy as well. So the policy has potential to align the goal of affordability, academic degrees with job readiness, and national ambitions with individual gains. So government want to make education affordable for everyone, so that everyone can go for this and everyone can go for higher education. Then what is the basic aim of the government? To make the people job readiness. So definitely as per the requirement of the industry, government is working to prepare people for job readiness. So these are some ambitions of this National Education Policy 2020. Then the policy provides to all students a quality education system with particular focus on historically marginalized, disadvantaged, and unprecedented groups. So the another objective of this policy is to provide the quality education by focusing all segment of the society. So that is the another thing which has been included in National Education Policy 2020. Now talking about the basic changes which has been there. So this policy replaced the 34-year-old national policy on education. So talking about the previous policy, so the previous policy has been introduced in 1986. So since 1986 till date, we are witnessing that policy only. But the aim to bring transformational reforms in school and higher education, and thus shape India into a global knowledge superpower. So definitely when we talk about ancient India, so India was the global knowledge superpower, as we were having the oldest universities of the world which was located in India. So government want to make India as a knowledge superpower. So for meeting that objective, government worked on replacing the old education policy with the current one. So this policy built on the foundational pillars that I have already talked about, like access, equity, quality, affordability, and accountability, so that we can meet out 2030 sustainable development goal. And this policy aims to transform India into a vibrant knowledge society by making both school and college education more holistic, flexible, and multidisciplinary. So when we talk about the earlier education policy and the earlier system of education in India, so that was not based on the holistic development, that was not flexible, multidisciplinary approach was there, but we were lacking on some front. So that's why these particular changes is being brought to cater the need of 21st century need. and aimed at bridging out the unique capability of each student. So definitely when we talk about the capability of student, so everyone is having some unique kind of talent and capability. So we cannot judge all the student on single parameter or single criteria. So that's why there was a requirement to change in the education system. So government just come up with a few new concept which is being added in this particular policy. So talking about the emergence, that how this policy came into existence. So the history of NEP. So an NEP is a comprehensive framework to guide the development of education in the country. So definitely this will provide the light to the education development in the country, and the need of policy was first felt in 1964. So this first education policy first introduced in 1964. A 17-member education commission headed by the UGC chairperson DS Kothari was constituted a draft on national and coordinated policy on education. So based on the suggestion of this commission, Parliament passed the first education policy. So in 1968, first policy is being implemented in India, and India has had three date. So the first came in 1968, second in 1986. So the second time that revision has been done in 1986 under Indira Gandhi and Rajiv Gandhi respectively. So the NEP of 1986 was revised in 1992. So some revision has been done in the year 1992 when India was witnessing liberalization, privatization, and globalization under the prime ministership of P.V. Narasimha Rao. And talking about this current or the third national education policy, so that is released on the 29th of July 2020. So this has been launched last year in July 2020 under the ministership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. So the recent Prime Minister took that initiative and thought to bring some changes and reforms in education sector. So this is how education policy emerged in our country in India. Now, after talking about the emergence of education segment and policies in India, would like to talk about silent features of NEP 2020. So talking about the major reforms in school education. So here are some changes which has been brought in this policy. So we'll be talking about these particular reforms in brief, and then later on we'll be talking in detail. So the first change is universalization of early childhood care education. Early childhood care education is very important. Like many of the researchers just depict that there is a development of brain took place at early stage of the childhood itself. So definitely if that education is being provided at early childhood and some care is being provided with the universalization of the education, then definitely there will be a development in the mind of that child or that student. The national mission on foundational literacy and numeracy is being added. Then this 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4 curricular and pedagogical structure. Earlier it was 10 plus 2 model, but now in this NEP, this is 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4 model is been introduced. So we'll be talking about this particular model in detail in next few slides. Then curricular to integrate 21st century skills like mathematical thinking and scientific temper. So definitely when we talk about filing patents, and also India lacks, US is dominating that, even China is dominating that rank. But when we talk about filing patents and also somewhere India is lacking behind. So in order to cater that need, will focus on more on mathematical thinking and scientific temper, so that we can work on that particular front. Then no rigid separation between art, science, and curricular and extracurricular activities. So earlier there was a clear cut separation. So due to that, many students used to opt that teaching and all learning, right? Few students used to opt for extracurricular and all. But now there will be no separation. So that is the best thing which is being added in this. And between vocational and academic stream also, earlier there was a clear cut separation, but now there will be no separations. So this is the best thing which has been included in national education policy. The next is education of gifted children. So definitely that was the area which was required some focus. So government worked on this education policy to provide better education facilities to the gifted children also. Then next is school curriculum to be reduced. So government will be reducing the curriculum and all, so that less pressure will be there in the student up to class 6. Then in grade 6 to 8, focus on vocational studies. So vocational training like pottery, gardening, mental work. So these things will be incorporated in the syllabus and curriculum. Then gender inclusion fund is to be launched with the help of this policy. Then experiential learning. So this is again very important thing. Experiential learning plays an important role whenever we talk about the development of the student. So this particular policy used to focus on experiential learning also. Then reduction in curriculum to the core concept. Earlier there was huge curriculum weightage and structure was there in the previous education policy, previous system, but in this NEP there will be reduction in curriculum so that we can focus to the core concept, and these core concept can be developed in the mind of students. So that is the another objective of this national education policy 2020. Then some other reforms in this schooling area are there, like new national curriculum framework. So a curriculum framework is to be designed by the government through this NEP for EC, school, teacher and adult education. Then board examination will be low stake based on the knowledge and application. So there will be less weightage on the examination, and will be working on improving the knowledge and application part. So that was the need of R, which is being added in this policy. Then language. So home language, mother language, regional language to be the medium of instruction up to class 5. So more focus on given in the language development. Why these languages is being included? Just because there was a acute shortage of teachers and all in different kind of languages, like when we talk about Hindi or English or some specialized language. So definitely if government hire local teachers, so that local teacher can teach in the local language or in mother language. So that is the best thing, that in early stages student will be learning at least something, and language will not the barrier for education. Then multilingualism is the underlying principle of this policy. Then using the power of language for integration and for understanding of Indian culture and values. So definitely this focus on language will focus on the development of Indian culture and value system in the mind of student. Then 360-degree holistic progress card of child is been planned out. So about this also we'll be talking about in the next few slides. Then tracking student progress from achieving learning outcome will be there. National Assessment Center Parak will be worked out through the help of this national education policy. Then NTA to offer common entrance exam for admission to higher education institutes. So National Testing Agency now conducting NET and some other examination will be conducting some common entrance examination for taking admission in higher education institute. So there will be uniformity in the conducting examination and entrance test and all. Then national professional standards for teachers will be set up. Book promotion policy and digital libraries will be set up. Then transparent online self-disclosure for public oversight and accountability will be there. So these are few major reforms which is being brought in the school education. Now we'll be talking about major reforms in higher education. So graded autonomy. government will be working on providing graded autonomy to the institute and phasing out affiliation system in the next 15 years. So definitely, like our institute is also affiliated to university, so due to that affiliation there are some problem like syllabus updation and all. So we have to look into the university for doing that things. But if graded autonomy is being provided and affiliation system is being phased out, then definitely there will be improvement in the quality of education, higher education in India. Then national mission on mentoring will be started. All higher education institution except legal and medical colleges to be governed by single regulator. So government is planning to implement single regulator to regulate all the institute except legal and medical. Then online self disclosure based transparent system for approval in place of inspections. So earlier inspection and all things were there, but self disclosure system will be developed, so that would be more transparent as compared to the previous one. So that is the thing which has been incorporated in the major reforms in higher education. Then common norms for public and private HEIs, higher education institutes, so common norms will be there. And private philanthropic partnership will be allowed. So private players from foreign countries also can enter in India now and open their venture. So again, if they come, so huge challenges will be there for the institute, those who are located in India. So definitely we have to set some standard, raise the bar very high so that we can compete in next few years if some big giants came to India. Then fee fixation within the board regulatory framework will be developed. Then credit transfer and academic credit, bank of credit will be there. So this is again the new concept which has been just brought in this. So this also will be discussing in next few slides. Then higher education institutions, research intensive, teacher intensive, and universities and autonomous degree granting colleges will be opened up so that higher education can be promoted to different part or different region in the country. Then model multidisciplinary education and research university will be developed. Then 50% of gross enrollment ratio by 2035. So that is the another aim of major changes in higher education in India. Then I am continuing with the major reforms in higher education. So internationalization of education is there through this NEP 2020. Then the National Research Foundation NRF is to be set up so that we'll be having more focus on the research and development. Then integration of vocational education, then teacher education and professional education is there. This was the need of current education system in India. Earlier vocational education system was having different kind of treatment, so very few of the students wanted to go with them. But now there will be no separation, so definitely anyone, those who are interested, can go for such vocational training and all. Then holistic and multidisciplinary education flexibility in subject, multiple entry and exit system is being developed. So UG program will be either for 3 year or 4 year. PG program will be either for 1 year or 2 year, and integrated 5 year bachelor's or master program will be there. So we'll be talking about these major changes in next part of the presentation. Then talking about MPhil, so MPhil is been discontinued. Why MPhil has been discontinued? Just because to promote the research in UG level as well as in PG level, this particular thing has been discontinued. So after completion of PG, definitely anyone can opt for PhD. So a special educational zone for disadvantaged region is to be set up. Then National Institute for Pali, Persian and Prakrit is to be set up. Then National Education Technology Forum is to be set up. Then MHRD to be renamed as Ministry of Education. So these are some major reforms which is there, which we can witness in higher education after implementation of this particular policy. So till now we have talked about the major reforms or few changes which has been there in this policy. Now we'll be talking about the key highlights of this particular policy. But before going to that, I have taken few statistics so that we can have clear understanding on the government expenditure on education. So in this graph, the expenditure on education as a percentage of GDP is being taken. So I have taken the example of few countries like Finland. Finland is having best education system in the world. So how much they are spending as a part of their GDP? So they are somewhere around 6 to 7%. So they are between 6 to 7%. So that is the highest. Then talking about UK, so UK is spending between 5 to 6% of the GDP. Then talking about North America is again between 5 to 6%. Then talking about Japan, so that is between 3 to 4%. But when we talk about our country, India, so earlier we were spending more between 3 to 4%, but in last few years there was a sudden decrease in that expenditure in education, and that was somewhere around between 2 to 3%. So definitely there is a need to allocate more expenses, more resources, so that proper development of education can take place. For that purpose, what government of India have planned, they have allocated 6% of the GDP as the expenditure on education. So that is another big step and initiative which is being fixed by government, so that they can improve the expenditure on education in India, and definitely there will be a paradigm shift in education. So definitely government is looking to spend more. So before starting the key highlight, there is a small video on a TV commercial of PNG, Procter and Gamble. They run a campaign called Shiksha campaign. So let's have a look, and so that we can have clear understanding of the infrastructural requirement in India in education field. So enjoy this video.
पापा मैं भी स्कूल जाऊंगा।
हाँ हाँ अपू।
स्कूल चले।
राम राम जी। राम राम जी। अरे अप्पू स्कूल जा रहे हो? मैंने ना नदी किनारे एक लाल रंग की नाव देखी थी। अप्पू नाव ढूंढने चले?
कब तक दूर से तुझे नजारे दिखाऊंगा, कब तक बूढ़ी कहानियां तुझे सुनाऊंगा, कब तक झूठे दिलासे तुझे दिलाऊंगा।
पर पापा स्कूल गए नहीं।
जाने वो दिन कब आएगा जब चांद पे तू जाएगा।
स्कूल जा रहे हो?
जाने वो दिन कब आएगा जब चांद पे तू जाएगा।
पापा आज भी स्कूल नहीं गए। पापा आज पक्का स्कूल जाएंगे।
कब तक तेरे सवालों को मैं यूं ही टालूंगा, कब तक तुझको बातों के धागों में बांधूंगा, कब तक झूठे दिलासे तुझे दिलाऊंगा। क्या वो दिन कभी आएगा जब चांद पे तू जाएगा, जब चांद पे तू जाएगा।
ठीक है। अपू, घूमने चलेगा? अपू,
हाँ वो दिन अब आएगा, हाँ वो दिन अब आएगा, चांद पे तू जाएगा, चांद पे तू जाएगा।
So the reason for showing this particular video, like many rural areas in India, still some people are facing huge problem of infrastructure. Basic school infrastructure is not there. Even when we talk about many part of India, rural India, so definitely those infrastructural requirement is there. So government is planning to improve the infrastructure as well, so that with the improvement of infrastructure, major transformation can be brought in the field of education in India. Now we'll be talking about the key principles of national education policy. So first key principle is respect for diversity and local context. So definitely this particular policy is focusing on diversity, and this will be in all curriculum, pedagogy and policy and all. So this has been there. Then talking about the second principle, that is equity and inclusion. So this policy focuses on inclusive education. That means education for all. So somehow this NEP is planning to provide education to all part of this particular country. Then community participation. Community participation is the new thing which is being added in this national education policy. Now talking about community participation, definitely the help of volunteer, young people, young brigade will be taken, so that this policy can be executed and we can benefit more number of children, more number of students, so they can at least have that basic education rights. Then use of technology, uh, as we all are witnessing this pandemic, and due to that those who are able to afford that using technology. But when we talk about the school level education in some part of India, the use of that technology is not possible. So government will be improving the use of technology in such part also. So that is the initiative which is been taken with the help of implementation of this NEP. Then emphasize conceptual understanding. So earlier education system was based on rote based learning. We all witnessed the same, but this policy will focus on improving the critical thinking and unique capabilities. So definitely unique capabilities will be the key area in which we have to work as a teacher, so that we can identify that unique capabilities and we can nourish, we can flourish that unique capabilities of the student. Then critical thinking and creativity is the another aspect in which the NEP focuses to encourage the logical decision making and innovation. So definitely when we talk about innovation index and all, we are lacking on some front, but this NEP will align with those objectives. Then continuous review. So continuous review mechanism will be developed, so that according to the need of the situation, there might be the changes which can be implemented with the help of this NEP. So these are some key principles of National Education Policy 2020. Now the next topic, that is universal access to education at all level. So universal access is being provided so that everyone can access that education. Under that, first point is multiple pathways to learning involving both formal and non-formal education. So government is planning to promote both formal as well as non-formal education modes, so that everyone will be benefited with that. Then bring back the dropouts. dropout is the biggest challenge and issue in India, just because of the people are not having the affordability of the education, or some responsibility is there to those children, and also they drop out the school education or higher education. So government will be planning to bring back those dropout to the system. Then alternative centers will be opened, so that huge option will be there for getting the education. Peer tutoring, so peer tutoring method can be developed, so that we can volunteer some student, and those students can definitely help out to the juniors and all. So this particular system will be developed. Then this particular policy will be focusing on learning outcomes. So we all are part of higher education institutes, so we used to focus on learning outcomes and all, but this learning outcome will be implemented from the school level education as well. Then talking about building schools and infrastructure, definitely government is planning for that, and 6% of the GDP expenses is being allocated for that. So this is the universal access of education, which is to be provided at all level to all the students in India. Then talking about the major highlights about this particular policy. So new policy aims of universalization of education from preschool to secondary level, with 100% gross enrollment ratio in school education by 2030. So government want to achieve this particular target, which has been set through this NEP 2020. And NEP 2020 will bring out 2 crore out of school children back into the mainstream. So the dropouts, those who are there, definitely we want to attract those dropout to the mainstream. Then this particular new system, which is 5+3+3+4 model of school curriculum, with 12 years of schooling and 3 years of Anganwadi and preschooling, is being developed, right? So these are some major changes. Like in this particular slide, I have taken the comparison between both the structure. In left hand side, you can just witness that 10+2 structure, which we all have gone through. That is the existing academic structure, and the right hand side, the new academic structure is being proposed. So that is 5+3+3+4 model is being there. So that 5 year is divided into 3+2 years, and these particular segments is divided into 4 category. So one is the foundational stage, then preparatory stage, then middle stage, and then secondary stage. So this is how these 4 stages will be there as a part of new academic structure. So let's have a look on the new academic structure. So first is the foundation stage, right? This annotation is visible?
Yes, sir, it is visible.
Yeah. So talking about the foundation stage, so this is the first 5 year. So this particular foundation stage is devoted to the 5 year. Under that, 3 years will be devoted to play school. So earlier in private school system, this playgroup, nursery and all is been there, but government is also incorporating this particular change, so that play school concept can be adopted by the government school system also. So these 3 years is dedicated to the play school, and further the 2 years will be dedicated to class 1 and class 2. So these 5 years is dedicated up to class 2 for providing the education to the children. Now the major reforms which has been brought in this 5-year system, from playgroup to class 1 and class 2, that no examination will be there. Now why no examination will be there in early 5 years of the education? Just because when we talk about the children, so they are scared about the examination and all. So attract more number of student, government is eliminating the examination up to class 2. And this is about the foundation stage. Now we'll be talking about the second, that is preparatory stage. So this preparatory stage is dedicated to the next 3 years of the education of the student, and this 3 year is been further classified into class 3 to class 5. So this particular 3 year will be based on class 3 to class 5, and talking about these 3 years from class 3 to class 5, so we'll be more focusing on activity and study. So activity based learning will be there along with the study. So that is the best thing which is being incorporated, that student learn very fast in activity based learning. And talking about the examination, then definitely exams starts from class 3 onwards. So examination will be there from class 3 onwards. And the another changes which is been there in preparatory stage, that is the language. So language should not be the barrier. For that, government is promoting mother language or national language. So definitely, according to the requirement and all, children can opt for either for mother language or national language, whatever they want to opt for. So this is about the preparatory stage from class 3 to class 5. Then coming to the middle stage, then talking about the middle stage. So again, this middle stage is dedicated to 3 year, and this is based on class 6 to class 8. So some changes is being incorporated, and those changes are very important in education system in India, like vocational courses is to be introduced. So as we have already discussed, like in the education system of different part of the world, these vocational training is having equal weightage. So if any student is fond of gardening, carpentry, or electrician, then definitely they can opt for these vocational training between class 6 to class 8. So that is the best thing which is being included in this national education policy, and that was the need of the hour. Then traditional subject will be there, like other subjects are there, so that will be there in between class 6 to class 8. And other thing, that is the Indian languages. So Indian languages will be promoted, like Sanskrit, Urdu, or Mathili. So different types of languages will be the key focus under this particular national education policy. So this is about the middle stage, and these are the major change and transformation which has been there as compared to 10+2 structure. Then the next will be the secondary stage. So talking about the secondary stage, so 4 years is being dedicated to this particular stage, and this particular stage is further devoted to class 9 to class 12, right? So the major changes which has been there, that is the no stream pattern will be there. So talking about no stream pattern, earlier we were opting or choosing that stream like science, mathematics, biology, or some other stream. So that was there. So this is the major changes, that no stream will be there. And talking about the language, so foreign language is been there. So foreign language can be opted by the student according to their need and interest. So this is the another shift or changes which has been brought in this secondary stage. And talking about the graduation after that, so graduation will be divided into first year, second year, third year, and fourth year. So 4-year graduation system has been there, but some major changes has been there in the graduation pattern in India. Earlier, no multiple entry and exit was there, but in this NEP, this was planned by the government. So if any student take admission in first year and complete that and exit that, then definitely he'll be getting that certificate, right? So certificate has been there, which he can receive or get after leaving that first year graduation. So earlier, if student completed first or second year, he was not getting anything, but at least he'll be getting something, so that he will be having something to continue that education in near future. Then second year, he'll be getting diploma. Then in third year, he'll be getting degree. So getting government jobs and all, this 3-year degree program is being needed in graduation. Then talking about fourth year, so fourth year is focused on research. So definitely, in order to enhance the research and analytical skills among the student, this research has been included in the fourth year. So that might be the optional. If student want to exit after completing that 3-year program, then definitely he or she can exit. Or if he and she is interested to conduct research and all, then definitely they can continue with the fourth year of graduation. Then talking about the PG, post graduation. So post graduation either will be of 1 year or will be of 2 years, right? So if any student have completed 4-year graduation, then definitely he or she can directly take the admission in the second year of PG program. Or if any student have completed 3-year graduation, then can opt for these 2 years PG program. So these are the major changes which is there in the graduation and post graduation. So this is the major shift which has been there in the higher education. Now, after discussing these changes, would like to just show you one small video that what will be the future of jobs and whether we will be able to ready our student according to that. So this is a report of World Economic Forum. Let's have a look on that, and then we'll be discussing about this video.
COVID-19 is one of the biggest crises of our time. It has impacted every single one of us, shaken our social systems, and disrupted every sector of our economies. The automation of work, combined with the global recession, led workers to lose their jobs at an accelerated pace compared to previous years. And this trend is expected to continue. The ongoing shift in the division of labor between humans, machines, and algorithms might displace 85 million jobs worldwide in the next 5 years, while 97 million new roles, ones that are more adapted to this new task distribution, may emerge. By 2025, companies expect to displace roughly 6% of their total workforce. 1 in 2 workers will need reskilling, and those remaining in their current roles will need to update 40% of their skill set to adapt to the changing labor market. There is a way to collectively benefit from these challenging times. Decades of research have shown that the most valuable asset of any economy or company is its human capital. Around the globe, companies are already experiencing a shortage in relevant skills for future roles and are investing in reskilling and upskilling their workforce. By 2025, organizations say they will train over 70% of their employees to ensure they can smoothly transition into the jobs of tomorrow. These include DevOps engineers, artificial intelligence specialists, digital marketing managers, talent acquisition specialists, and customer success specialists. It will take on average between 2 weeks and 5 months for workers to pick up new skills, allowing them to move into these new roles. But data shows they won't need to have the perfect skill set to start transitioning. While 2/3 of employers expect to get a return on investment in employees' reskilling programs within just 1 year, governments will also need to step in to update and fund education and training systems and to ensure displaced workers have adequate safety nets. With purposeful leadership and collaboration, we can turn this global crisis into a unique opportunity to transition into a future of jobs that is inclusive, fair, and sustainable.
Yeah, so this is the future requirement in the job field according to the report of World Economic Forum. So definitely, according to the need to meet out these skill set, government have made these changes like introduction of vocational training and all. So this will further help to improve the skill set among the students. So definitely the changes which is being brought through this education policy was the need of our. Now we'll be talking about early childhood education learning in formative years. So as early childhood education is very important for the development of brain and all, so this policy will be focusing on teamwork and collaboration, play-based and discovery-based learning, ethics, self-identity, etiquette, behavior, emotional development, colors, shapes, alphabets, numbers, relationship with nature, art, craft, music, logical thinking, and problem solving, then developing curiosity. So these are the dimensional approach which will be adopted at early childhood education, so that proper development of skill set and other things will be there at early childhood education as well. Then the next thing is reduction in curriculum. So curriculum was the huge weightage, and definitely there was some requirement of reduction in curriculum. So this reduction in curriculum is focusing on 4 things, that is the core essential, critical thinking, interactive classes, and experiential learning. So earlier only lecture was delivered and student was writing thing, but now there will be reduction in the curriculum, and this curriculum will be focusing on the core essentials of those subjects. Then critical thinking ability will be developed with the help of inquiry, discovery, discussion, and analysis. And interactive classes will be there so that student can learn more, and experiential learning will be the focus area. So fun, creative activity, collaborative activity, and activity-based learning will be there in the reduction of curriculum. So definitely these 4 parameters will help out to roll out these particular policy in a great manner. Then talking about the creativity in education. So definitely rather than focusing on rote-based learning or that monotonous education system, there is a requirement of creativity in education. So let's watch small video so that we can understand how creativity can be incorporated at school level or in higher education among the student.
Children are born creative. Sarah, for example, loves to dance. She doesn't care about making any wrong moves. At her first day at school, she can't wait to show her dancing skills to her new friends. They're so excited they even start copying her moves. But when the teacher comes in, he tells them to stop. School is not a place to dance, it's a place to get knowledge. So the first thing Sarah learns, school is not about her interests. When Sarah graduates, she has the best degree in her class. Great. But she doesn't dance anymore because she is afraid that somebody might judge her. The reason? The first global education system was invented during industrialization, when medicine and mechanical machines were making huge steps forward. So, the most important subjects to support these developments were at the top of the hierarchy. They are needed today as well, but we don't know what the world will look like in the future. With the advances in automation, we will need to develop new business ideas and lifestyles. But how will our children invent these in the future when they aren't educated to solve challenges in a creative way? Of course, our education system can change. On the one hand, it could put subjects like sports and arts on the same level like math, languages, or humanities. At the same time, it could give students more freedom to choose which topics they want to learn and which they don't. On the other hand, interdisciplinary tasks could teach teamwork to students with different strengths. The result? Success. And what about computers? No, not like this. In times of digitalization, schools should give students modern digital workspaces. Last but not least, Schools should start encouraging creative expression from students like Sarah. Because the more creative and fearless she is, the better her chances are of becoming whatever she wants to be, even a dancing queen.
So definitely creativity is required whenever we talk about the teaching industry, as we all are facing this pandemic, and definitely we are unable to attract more number of student in the class. Either we talk about that school level of education or higher education. So creativity should be there, and that creativity is to be brought by the help of this national education policies. Now, the next thing which I want to discuss is focus on learning outcomes, competencies, and subject integration. So this is the another key area where this education policy is focusing. So competency based education, that means modules on preparing and implementing the pedagogical plan based on competency and outcome based education. So we'll be focusing more on outcome based education for school leaders. Then integration of subject will be there through arts integrated, sports integrated, ICT integrated, storytelling based pedagogy among others, and standard pedagogy. So definitely integration of subject is being required. For example, if any student is just going to adopt engineering and he want to start his business, so definitely some economics and entrepreneurial classes is being required to motivate, to provide the information and all. So with the help of these integration of subject, that can be achieved. Then development of scientific temper. So development of scientific temper and inculcation of knowledge and practice of human and constitutional values such as patriotism, sacrifice, non-violence, truth, honesty, peace, etc. So this is another key area where we want to develop our student in those particular field. Then no hard separation, we have already talked about that the curricular and co-curricular extracurricular will be having equal weightage. No separation will be there between the academic and vocational training, science, humanities, sports, arts, academic, everyone or everything will be having equal weightage. Then emphasis on digital literacy. So this particular policy also focuses on the digital literacy part. Then promotion of multilingual teaching. So multi-language is being adopted in this NEP so that teaching can be more beneficial to all part of the country. The next is mental and physical health and well-being. So this is another area where we need to work on. So definitely health checkups will be conducted at school level on annual basis for all the students. So that will further help to identify the mental and physical health of the student. Then reduce weightage of school bags, that was required, and that is being incorporated in this national education policy. Then mandatory skills like health and wellness is being identified. Under that, student will be learning health, nutrition, physical education, fitness, wellness, sports. So these are the some additions which is being added in this NEP in the curriculum as well. Then hiring counselor in school complexes. So counselor will be hired by the government, and definitely those counselor will be counseling to the teacher as well as to the student, so that further development in education will take place. Then focus on children with disability. So children, those who are having different ability, they will be giving special focus so that they can also go for receiving the education and higher education in India. Then inclusive and caring culture at school. So if inclusive and caring culture will be developed, then definitely will be able to attract more number of students in the classroom, and student will be enjoying coming classes, attending classes, and learning new things. So this is the key area, key focus area in the NEP 2020. Then India's future and India's leadership role in upcoming fields. So this policy focus on computational thinking, mathematical thinking, and problem solving. So increased emphasis on mathematics and computational thinking throughout the school years. So definitely special focus will be given in the computational thinking field. Then activities involving coding will be introduced in middle stage. So at school level only student will be learning coding, and also that would be add-on advantage for development of the analytical and critical thinking of the student. Then inculcate the mathematical thinking and problem solving through a variety of innovative methods, including the regular use of puzzles and games. So use of puzzles and games in the mathematics and all will be incorporated. Then teaching of contemporary subject at middles and secondary stages, like artificial intelligence, design thinking, holistic health, organic living, environmental education, global citizenship education. So these are the key area which has been identified and key focus area under this National Education Policy 2020. So that is another best thing which has been incorporated in education policy. Now the next thing is the knowledge of India. So government want to depict the knowledge of India, so we'll be showing documentaries and we'll be more focusing on depicting the Indian knowledge system, like tribal knowledge, indigenous and traditional way of learning. Then lots of changes will be brought so that knowledge of India can be depicted and the mind of youth can be attracted in that particular field. Now the next is transforming the culture of assessment. So there will be a transformation in the culture of assessment, like a continuous tracking of learning outcome of each student will be there. Board examination will be more flexible. Then AI based software will be developed. So definitely those software will be helping us to identify the skill set required for further development. Then National Assessment Center is to be developed. Then peer assessment system is being developed. National Testing Agency will be conducting a high quality common aptitude test. So these are some major changes or reforms which is there in the culture of assessment. Now talking about holistic progress card. So holistic progress card means the 360-degree multi-dimensional report will be prepared. So how that will be prepared? The progress in project based and inquiry based learning. So some project is being allocated and that project based learning will be evaluated, and student will be assessing own self, the peer student will be assessing their friends, teacher will be assessing. So these assessment will be having weightage in the progress card as well, and AI based software will be incorporated, and parents will be included in the holistic progress card. So there is a small video would like to show that how China is using artificial intelligence in the classroom to analyze the skill set of the students. So let's have a look on this.
红色是表示你的专注力显示的很高，
Teachers at this primary school in China
蓝色是走神了，
know exactly when someone isn't paying attention.
白色就是你可能跟网络还没有连接好。
These headbands measure each student's level of concentration. The information is then directly sent to the teacher's computer and to parents. China has big plans to become a global leader in artificial intelligence. It has enabled a cashless economy where people make purchases with their faces. A giant network of surveillance cameras with facial recognition helps police monitor citizens. Meanwhile, some schools offer glimpses of what the future of high-tech education in the country might look like.
做出选择吧 ，Good job。
Classrooms have robots that analyze students' health and engagement levels. Students
So this is how China is using technology for analyzing the engagement level of the student, their interest area, and how they are performing in those areas. So definitely if AI based software can be developed in India for tracking the progress of the student, then definitely that will be the game changer in that field. Now multilingualism and the power of language learning. So we have already discussed that this particular policy focuses on use of multiple languages. So medium of instruction until grade 5, preferably till grade 8, will be in home language or mother language or local language. Then the language of India fun-based project activity will be taken by every student. Then 3 languages is to be taught with which will be decided by states or union territories, and all classical languages will be available as the option. So government is focusing for promoting the languages in India. Then standard setting and accreditation. As we are the part of higher education, so definitely will be aware about the NBA accreditation and NAC accreditation. So in school level also, that accreditation and standard setting will be incorporated with the help of this particular policy, that will be on self disclosure basis, and few standard will be set up by the higher authority, so that quality standard is being adopted by the schools, and that will be evaluated by a particular committee, so that that school can be accredited. So that is the another changes which has been brought in the accreditation system. Then focus on socio-economically and disadvantaged group. So this is the another key area which has been incorporated in this education policy 2020. So gender identities, particularly female, transgender and individual, is being included. Then socio-cultural identities like scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, OBCs and minorities is the key focus person. Then geographical identities such as student from villages, small town, aspirational districts is the key focus area. Then student is having different abilities, another key focus. Then this socio-economic conditions such as migrant communities, low income household, children in vulnerable situation, victims of trafficking, and also these are some key focus point of the NEP 2020. And definitely if we focus on such groups, so education can be provided to those groups also, those who are unable to take that. So here the small video on educate girl child, just because in some part of India girls are being dropped out at early school education. So let's enjoy this video.
छुटकी जल्दी आ। टिफिन लिया? हाँ। आजा। पकड़ ले, पकड़ लिया?
पकड़ लिया।
अरे गोविंद।
अरे भैया, नमस्ते।
नमस्ते नमस्ते नमस्ते। अरे ये क्या, बिटिया स्कूल जाने लगी है? चलो अच्छा है अच्छा है। वैसे जरा संभल के गोविंद, ज्यादा पढ़ लिख करके कहीं लड़की हाथ से ना निकल जाए।
चलें बेटा?
पापा, मैं हाथ से क्यों निकल जाऊंगी?
बताऊं? देख, अभी तू स्कूल जाएगी।
हाँ।
फिर मन लगाकर पढ़ाई करेगी।
हाँ।
फिर जब तू फर्स्ट आएगी,
हाँ।
तो बड़े शहर में जाके इंजीनियर बनेगी।
इंजीनियर नहीं, पायलट।
अच्छा, पायलट? फिर तो तू मुझे प्लेन में मुफ्त में घुमाएगी।
घुमाऊंगी ना?
पक्का?
पक्का।
हाथ दे अपना। चल बेटा, शाबाश।
फिर क्या होगा?
फिर तू पायलट बन के बहुत सारे पैसे कमाएगी। अपने फैसले खुद करेगी। बड़ी बड़ी हीरोइनों की तरह जीन्स पैंट पहनेगी।
जीन्स पैंट?
हाँ, जीन्स पैंट। जहां मन करेगा वहां जाएगी।
So definitely we all should promote the education of girl child, so we can work for woman empowerment in our country. So that is the special focus of this policy. Then this policy also focuses on the gifted student. So the gifted student will be encouraged, those who are having special talent, and special examination will be conducted for them. Then special B.Ed program can be launched for them, so that teacher will be available to teach the gifted student. So lots of new things which is being added to provide the education facilities to the gifted student, those who are having special talents. Talking about policy, and if we do not talk about the online and digital education, then definitely that will not complete. So this policy also focusing on providing online and digital education, like we all have witnessed the SWAYAM and different MOOC portals which are available by the government of India. So government will be working for further development of digital and online education. So inclusion and access will be there, blended learning will be adopted, content will be created, digital platform will be developed, pilot studies will be conducted, and those platform will be expanded in near future. Now at last would like to talk about the teacher education. So this is another key area. If we want to improve the education in India, then definitely we have to improve the teacher education as well. So for that, national curriculum framework for teacher education is being formulated by NCT in consultation with NCERT, and minimum degree qualification will be required for just coming to in the field of teaching. So definitely this will further improve the teacher education and quality of education in India. Now, at last, I would like to conclude this presentation that the new education policy NEP 2020 is the good policy, as it aims at making the education system holistic, flexible, multidisciplinary, aligned to the need of 21st century sustainable development goals. And the imprint of the policy seems to be idle in many ways, but it is the implementation where lies the key to success. So definitely we are having huge responsibility, as we all are teachers, so we will be playing key role in the implementation of this particular policy. And definitely if this policy is being successfully implemented, then we can achieve the goal of 21st century. And this is the timeline how this NEP will be implemented. So government is planning to implement this policy from 2021, from this year onwards, and then some changes will be there in 2025-26, and fully this policy will be operational in 2040. So this is the timeline for implementation of National Education Policy 2020. And with this video, would like to just wind up my presentation. So let's enjoy this video. This is a gratitude to all the teachers, those who are present here.
I would like to thank my friend. She taught me not to judge people based on the past.
I think I'd like to thank my yoga teacher for dealing with my mental and physical inflexibilities.
I would like to thank my maths teacher. She made me look at the subject that I hated in a completely different perspective.
I'd like to thank my grandmother. She's been telling me very great stories about saints.
I would like to thank the whole universe, because that's always the best teacher.
My Tamil teacher,
My dance teacher.
My physics teacher. My grandfather.
Teacher inside myself.
My teacher, always, and who's so persistent and so prominent in my life, is my mother.
The first teacher ever in my life was my mom.
That would be my mother, actually. She's been one teacher who stayed with me and is still with me. I mean, she's 96 years old.
My grandfather was extremely ill, and his leg got amputated. So he became almost like a child. And my mother has taken care of him like a baby. He was her father-in-law. And not many daughter-in-laws have the comfort or that relationship with their father-in-law. But she did everything for him. And when I mean everything, right from feeding him to everything that you can think of. And during his last few days, he called my mom and he folded his hands and he said that, you're my mother. You've taken care of me and you're my mother, and thank you for that.
So with that note, I just thank you all for your patience listening. And here I just wind up this particular session on key highlights of National Education Policy.